now, Shubare Lanadan, Jashu Semdi, Semja Tamji, Korean Sonly, Ya, and Korea Dungali, Ya, Dreche, Ya, and the Jig, Yang Solma, and the Droma Juvaje, Ya, and Tenje, Tarbi Lamli, Tarba, Mundio Kopana, Tamjikin Be Lamli, Tarba Tamjikin Be Lamla, Goba Jibazan, Dreviki, in Gidia, said. Gidia. Dek sin hama de ya ma sama de ya dek am lam do shires and better. And in a she Dreviki, that draw semjen de yo koala corche, tarbo tobala, and tarbo to be gay new dip details, which is a new mombada, new dip tea, and the ma sewa gpk Gunet, Benejajusim, you Gunia lang, Jan, de ya. Tarbiki, Yomo, Benimbo, Lam Dienje, Koi Dungal, Dreche, Taratoba Jebajinza, and Dawana, she is. Tene, Yajik, Sanjoko Tobala, Bartujek, Yomo, Divide, Sheriff, yes. Jizajat, Janjusim, Gunia Lange, and say Sanjoko to be Cherdo, and that Tomba to be Sherap, De Lam Yamlerim Batinje, Yan, Jiva Pacha, Jeva Bang, Genia, and Sanya Sarakoba Jebaza. And Nimanaji, says Casan, Disnaji, Dusine, and Chiti Naji, and Dawanaji, and Nimanaji, and Dusine Beta, Jarajin Ba, Chikjanjusimki, Kisham, Yendikiba, to Shivaro.
Good evening. So last week we looked at some verses that were presenting, by means of illustrations, the benefits of bodhicitta. So amongst the illustrations we looked at last week, one was likening bodhicitta to a universal bridge, in that independence on bodhicitta, beings are turned away from non-virtue that would otherwise lead to rebirth in the lower realms. And the bodhisattva can influence beings to no longer accumulate such non-virtue themselves. Likewise, bodhicitta was likened to furthermore, bodhicitta was likened to a moon, in that bodhicitta, through the power of bodhicitta, the bodhisattva guides beings how to abandon the obscurations to liberation, the afflictions together with their seeds, and likewise, with wisdom conjoined with bodhicitta, the bodhisattva themselves will abandon the obscurations to liberation. And furthermore, we looked at the analogy where bodhicitta is likened to the sun, in that the bodhisattva will guide beings to abandon the obscurations to omniscience, so the very stains of the afflictions, and moreover, the bodhisattva's wisdom directly realizing emptiness conjoined with bodhicitta will enable them to abandon the obscurations to omniscience and thereby attain Buddhahood. So those were some of the illustrations we looked at last week.
The
final illustration is the third and fourth line from the 32nd verse. It is the abundant battery essence that comes from churning the milk of the holy Dharma.
Semjan Tamji Korea Dungal Dreje and Diva Bacha de Japanji Sanjoko to be Chirdo, Muzo di Sanji Yusun Cheta, Zo di da, Muzo the Sanjoko to be Chirdo, Sombarawa, Jizan Sanjoko to Chido, Kajela, and the Sanjoko to Yaka Lam, Tabachima Lam Wosutia, Kajela, and then Yakapta, that in Yakapta Tabachimichi. And Yamlin Jematuanzolia, Taratu Lam Yamlin there. And they are just Jematuanzolia and Mondioko Lam there. Tis the Nigga Lam Danger, Yamlin Ribaja, more one go to prepare in there, Tardu 안 산유 고바 토비 송비 최대 차되어서 제 담주 오마 세제 산지 송비 최대의 추유 콜로고와 소비 송대에다 담주 오마 세제 세대의 산유 송대로 고고 담주 오마 담주 세대 담주 오마 세대.
In English, we first look at the fourth line, comes from churning the milk of the Holy Dharma. The Holy Dharma then refers to the entirety of the teachings of the Buddha that are encompassed in the three wheel turnings, the initial, the middling, and the third, or the first, the middling, and the third wheel turnings. And here in this analogy, the Holy Dharma is likened to milk. And the very essence of the Holy Dharma is the wisdom directly realizing emptiness, conjoined with bodhicitta, leads to the attainment of the perfected state of Buddhahood. Some practitioners can be led directly to the Mahayana paths through cultivating a bodhicitta as well as the wisdom realizing emptiness, progressing directly towards Buddhahood. Other practitioners, because of their own dispositions and karmic backgrounds, are better suited to being led indirectly to the paths of the Mahayana via the paths of the hearers or the paths of the solitary realizers, through initially cultivating the wisdom realizing emptiness and only much later cultivating bodhicitta. But by whichever of these methods one follows, either initially the paths of the hero or the paths of the solitary realizer, or directly to the paths of the Mahayana, the paths of the Bodhisattva, the essence of the Dharma leads one to that final goal of Buddhahood.
margi nihu seo chawo da mar na ne da chuda gyen yin me ba mar kya nya mar nihu se je sa da margi nihu se de ne gi oma la de ne mar de an ma za je ne ma ji ya ho je de kwen me so so din ji de margi nihu se de mar na ne ning bo de je sa di ma de da ji ji 류레 펜바다 은주 첨보다 펜바 중고로와 지나다 돈달라 독신이 지다 베로시 디리도 마기 오마디 수발레 안 마르죠 마르지 바독신에 자연데 지 마기 니후디 야쇼디 자 차고 말난다 야쇼디 좋아다 니후세.
The analogy continues. For us, it's a line before. It is the abundant battery essence. So bodhicitta here is being likened to the abundant battery essence of milk. So when one creates, when one creates butter, one of course creates it by churning milk, but that butter still contains liquid, and therefore needs to be boiled to be clarified. And that here is the analogy to battery essence or clarified butter.
지나들에 다들 데라 만주 담치 오마 세디 담베치 산지 송들 거해 마도 지도 만주 그 오마데 말에 남미도야 오마데 말에 다들이 된데 오마기 민지 고 겐도 된게스 파 근데 오마데 세디 담치 오마 세디 산지 송비 최데라제 숲 세디 and the super said, tell some gomsum to go, tell some gomsum. Jisan Sanji soon be damjo, Ma Sanji soon di, Turbaje, Sambaje, Jisan Turba, Sumba, Gombaje, Jisan that, Sanji soon turn, that Jig Tarba to be lamb, Nibine, Gans Gongore, then a Sanji Goban to color, and the Jig, Janju Simgula Javala, Ganakaran Yam Jehore, Sebe Dine, tell some Turbaje, Sambaje, Tubu Dundela, and Yani. Gomje, and so come yadilla, Mashi Jin so you want Jamba said, then Casore, Nichi Chambo said, Hassan Namda said, Undusino Gomne, the Jansen to go give or Jesa, Dineza, Damchi Oma, Subale said, Damchi Omadim, 상계 승배 송제 상계 승배 숲세대 상계 승배 송del에 퇴섬 곰숨제네 퇴바제 퇴배 된데라 아니지 퇴바 침배 최념는 제라 나보 카라카라 치고를 간에 치고를 수 퇴배 된데라 아니지 고미에게 장주심 규례 깨와라 균리의 맹에 눈유고니 기수다 아니지 다산념주고니 기수 여러와 어디서 공부할 때네 퇴배 되네 삼디 공부할 때네 안에 가르쳐 왔으나 지금 말나시 잠니시게 될 직파 말기 니후디다 제 디공부할 때네 장주심의 규례 기고래서 제산 중고래서 제산다 담비취 퇴배 퇴성 검숨 제발할 때네 아니 냠수 렌제 아니 타말이야 제부도 가려서네 산지 가서 셈자 탐주 산요고번 토발 제비 자주심이 그래기 얼마이 니후세야니 자주심제 제자산 자주심이 개발 중화래 사지 마이 니후 중화인세데 자주심이 중고래 중화래 사지
Of course, these two lines are an illustration. So the reference to milk is not a reference to the milk that we drink, but is a reference to the holy Dharma, the sacred Dharma. And so the sacred Dharma, so the milk refers to the holy Dharma. The churning refers to the three practices of hearing, reflecting, and meditating. In other words, how one comes to cultivate the holy Dharma within is through hearing, reflecting, and meditating, which is in the analogy how one takes the milk, and as through churning one gives rise to butter. The milk is transformed into butter. So by hearing and reflecting and then meditating on the sacred Dharma, one comes to deeply understand the Dharma, and understand it in the sense of, in order to cultivate a path, what is it that one needs to train, as well as how to train one's mind. So both aspects of understanding the Dharma and understanding how to cultivate it within. So in the context of the Mahayana Dharma, this process of churning the milk, churning the holy Dharma, is hearing, reflecting, and meditating on the Dharma. So, for example, to generate bodhicitta, one will engage in one of two methods. For example, the seven cause and effect method, sevenfold cause and effect method, reflecting how all beings have been our mother, recalling the tremendous kindness, generating the wish to repay the kindness, and thereby generating actual love and great compassion. And we can understand in this analogy then love and compassion being the butter that comes about in dependence on churning the milk of the Dharma. And as one cultivates love and compassion ever further, this we can understand through the process of clarifying the butter, giving rise to pure butter, being bodhicitta. So then again, in the analogy, the holy Dharma is likened to the milk. Churning is engaging in hearing, reflecting, and meditating. And a butter itself are the minds of great love and great compassion. And the buttery essence, or the buttery essence can also be translated as clarified butter. That is the generation of bodhicitta.
그래서 말기 니후 세대다 니후라비다 말기 니후라비다 태바침비기 최 냠랭기 나네 닝보디드레스 오다 잔슈셈데 닝보디드레스 제사다 말기 니후 세대 말세대 태바침의 최 냠랭제에게 산교고방 토바지게 태바침의 최 냠랭지 말세 델리바잖아 지고도 안디나데 닝보디드레스 그래서 닝보임비 김장 가르람나 장주쌤 디게 맞은 바나 네 진바도 수준서버 전주 3년 동방이도 베셔라 가져 공부이네야 산조고모도 비교 차고 말 산조고모도 두고 말 제가 디서 진바도 수준서버 전주 3년 네 셰럽게 냠는 차상 네 지금 장주쌤 요군에 라지 심베트네 냠는 제반사 안지 차상 산조고모도 비교 차바디 장주쌤 디게 지고로 봐 제가 장주쌤 디 니후 조 닝보디 다 장주쌤들에서 제가 니네 자데 타바침비게 산조고모도 비교 냠는 제발라 단다닝보라 다 산조고모 토발라 상기기 숭비 최대로 퇴섬 공순제 퇴섬 공순제 발라데네 야 아니 자주 셈게 자주 셈이 심비 토네 아니 파신 중에 냠는 제제 냠는 수 냠술에 탈신 발라데네 상기고 토고를 제자디네 인자다 자주 셈디 매나미로 닝보디레 제자다 자주 셈 닝보진자 나는지 당아 자사 셈제 고려 동안을 줘야지 네 자 상기고 토바 되비게 토바 되베이나 근데 장수심 공고래스 근데 제 심자 탐절이야 펜바 개침 못 주지 심자 탐절이야 펜바 개침 못 주바이네야 두고네 다 장수심도 공고래스 진짜 장수심 때문에 제고래스 모두 신도네 닝보데다 지송고래
The analogy again, the Holy Dharma, in particular the Mahayana Dharma, we should understand to be the milk. The churning is the process of hearing, reflecting, and meditating. And the results that start to follow from this process of churning the milk, the generation of butter, this is likened then to great love and great compassion of the Mahayana. And as that love and compassion is developed ever further through ongoing churning, through ongoing clarifying, then one attains clarified butter, or the buttery essence. And the buttery essence, the essence we should understand to being bodhicitta. And why in particular bodhicitta? Well, bodhicitta comes from the Mahayana Dharma, and bodhicitta itself is the very essence of the Mahayana. And the reason that bodhicitta, rather than any other a wholesome mind, is the essence of the Mahayana, is because if bodhicitta is absent, no matter how well one trains in all the other practices, no matter how powerful one's ethics, one's generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom realizing emptiness, no matter how powerful all of those are, Buddhahood cannot be achieved. Only when those practices are conjoined with bodhicitta will Buddhahood be achieved. So therefore, it's through hearing and reflecting and meditating on the Mahayana Dharma, that bodhicitta will be generated. And then through conjoining bodhicitta with the other trainings, ethics and so forth, that Buddhahood will be achieved. So the essence of what is being presented here in these two lines is that if you have a wish to be of real meaningful benefit to others, generate bodhicitta. If you yourself want to attain the perfect state of Buddhahood, generate bodhicitta.
아니네 조유 권보 조유 계사 가서 조유 전부 시비 남주신 대비 론주 제벌 되발라 니는 대와 초도 대비 초도 년내데 심진 전신 첨벌 제바 인스.
Then the 33rd verse. For guests wandering on the paths of samsara, yearning to enjoy the happiness of sensual enjoyments, bodhicitta takes them ever closer to supreme happiness, satisfying sentient beings, its great guests.
난데네 조유 전부 시비 남주신 수전 조와 세딩 조와 심제 너 코와리 네데 코위게 네데 심젠티게 차산라 조유 전부 시오레 조유 전부 남는 저기 지당 다데 조유 전부 세디 코와리네 심젠 고고래 지당은 남유 전부세네 lumba치네 파 지게 파 다른 뭐 구두 스토딩인데 전부라고래 지다 조유 전부 세디게 때 베네 유니부디가 말와 데스테 양식 상다 데스테 주시는 그 유니부디에게 된자 되게 네네 된자 되고 말하지 지사다 디나시 다 디나신 베드 제가 말다 조유 전부 세디 심젠디게 조유 전부 세디 가르세네 조유 전부 시비 남주신 세디 지산 조유 전부 시비 남주 세디 시바 세디 코와 시지 토쇼디 시지티세 베네 수메 세데 디나 수메나 남가타야 남시지 시지에서 퇴쇼지로와 가브리엘야 시질레게 가브리엘야 안지고 어디와 가브리엘 수컴나게 가브리엘 되베컴나게 가브리엘야 냐 솔레게 마디 파타마 냐와체 지산 가브리엘 나와 냐와네야 즉 든로다 안지게 hada mi ko wa de ya ne su su me ne si je ba du shin ko ra che che Gabriel ya le ke su le ke Gabriel su me je Gabriel de be la ke Gabriel ya nya wa la ke che du shin ji ne ko ra che ko ra chi ke wa len de ge ro ba chi san de de bo zhuo dian jia je da ge di ne dian jia me ne ba je lo ha xie ne da din ma xi an shen da chi ke du shin ko ra che che dian cha be de wa dian cha ge de wa de tu go me ba za de de bo si be lam ju xin san zhuo wa sem jen ko wa lai ne de sem jen de je de de bo se de ko wa lai ne be sem jen che si be lam ju se da de bo yin zang ko dian jia me ne ba je an ko Gabriel ya chi ge nyawan ya jin du xin to si si ba du sin ko ra ke che ge de yu ba za de si be lam ju xin se wo da.
Looking at the first line, for guests wandering on the paths of samsara, usually when we hear about, when we think of guests, or guests would generally, it's certainly in this context, would be people who are temporarily passing by. So those who are traveling from one place to another and would maybe pass by here on their way to somewhere else. So residents who are here only very temporarily. This is the usual understanding of guests. Here it refers to those wandering through samsara or migrating through the various realms of samsara. Because like travelers, they do not abide in any one place for very long. Migrators migrate through the various realms of cyclic existence, or beings circle in the realms of cyclic existence. Sometimes they will attain rebirth in the formless realm, perhaps even in the very highest level, the peak of cyclic existence, the very highest level within cyclic existence. Other times they'll be born in the form realm, or in the desire realm as a god or a human being, or in the lower realms, the lower realms and the desire realm as an animal, a spirit, or even in the hells. But wherever a being is in this life is not necessarily the realm they were in the life before or the life that is to come. Beings continuously circle in cyclic existence and thereby are likened to guests wandering on the paths of samsara. They don't abide anywhere in a lasting manner, but are temporary, traveling from one place to another, one life to another, one realm to another.
Devi longju jebar deba la sidida lada mi dewa devi longju delba anjik jebar dugores tagaje dewa tuen dunya gorwa.
Whilst these guests are wandering on the paths of samsara, now the second line, they yearn to enjoy the happiness of sensual enjoyments. So here we would think of all the delights, the pleasures of the human and God realms. This is what samsaric beings yearn for.
La semjen tham je Gabrielia anjinya wala ke dunga patum me banyon ya Gabrielia dunrola ke je dunga nyong ya Gabrielia hada mili ke je na je dunga yor de hada mi de ya digia nyo ye de ba an Gabrielia ya su kom le ke ni de wa de je dunga ne dizemra me de ni Gabrielia su me kam le ya ke je anji ba de ni ke koraji du ke wa lingor de ine da de ya Tenja mine bacha chipine lo kaze debena chi kanzam chilya di zochi nuba zochi ma shanda kewala kora du sen dugor ina chasanda dewa dugor esta dewa dugor de dewa tencha ne adi ante nyamsu leagi dewa di tengi dewa di yune yomarwa se orda devi lonju jebar debala lonju dugor es ina de tencha wa di ratu yomares.
looking at these two lines together, for guests wandering on the paths of samsara, yearning to enjoy the happiness of sensual enjoyments. Here we should conjure up the image that relates to ourselves, but also all other ordinary beings. That in this particular life, we are born in this particular realm for us as human beings, but others are suffering right now as a hell being, others as spirits, others as animals. But we, as well as many other billions, are born as a human, enjoying the sensual delights of the human realm. Others have a rebirth as a god in the desire realm, enjoying the sensual delights of the desire realm gods. And others are enjoying the happiness of the form and formless realm gods. So this is where beings find themselves now. But that is just for this brief life. Soon, each being will pass and take rebirth once again in a new body elsewhere in the suffering realms of samsara. And whilst beings are circling in cyclic existence or are wandering on the paths of samsara, all happy experiences they encounter, they yearn for these to last, but they never do. And they yearn to attain further happiness, which will last, but they never attain lasting happiness. This is the situation of beings, wandering from rebirth to rebirth, realm to realm, experiencing suffering, and when experiencing happiness, it never lasts. It always lets them down.
And Dini said that Janju Sem Gula Gye, Janju Sem Gula Gye, Janju Sem Badi Sosi or Dini said that Deva Chodo said that Simjan Dinigi and the Koa Badi Sulia, Deva Dugor, Deva Dinigi, Dingi Deva Tobomar, in a Desulia, Deva Druegi, Tablam Chodo Gulbadida, Shenlia, Pembige, Pendi Druege, Tablam Chodo Gulbadi, Janju Semdi, or Janju Semdi, Dini Chodo, Dini Deva Chodo, Devi Chodo said, Semje Shenlia, Pendi Digi Druege, Tab Chodo Gulbadi, Janju Semdi, says, Devi Chodo said. Simjan Tamje, Simjan La Pandi Duvia, Simjan Tamje that is Koaba Simja de Dugularwa, the console Digi Dugor, Chisam console Digi Duegi, Deva Duegi, Tap Chodo Cuba did that, Janju Semderes, Devi Chod. The court Deva Horan Chodo Cuba, my bache, Deva Shanlia, Digi Duela, Tablam, Tap Chodo Cuba, the Janju Semderes.
The third line, bodhicitta takes them ever closer to supreme happiness. So for those who have bodhicitta in their continuum, through the capacity of this remarkable mind, they are able to guide wandering guests, those still bound in the realms of samsara, ever closer to the attainment of lasting happiness. Bodhicitta itself is not a mind of lasting happiness, but it is a skillful means by which beings are guided to attain lasting happiness. In other words, the bodhisattva, powered by their bodhicitta, guides beings ever closer to attaining a state of lasting happiness.
Dini sire Janju Semba Digi so Dini Janju Semba Digi da Shengi Digi Dubi Tap Chod Gubat Janju Semre, Chisna Janju Semgi Gula Kitu, Janju Semba Digi, and Semji by Gangsonia, Semjen Yusa de Pa Yawale, and Cosemje the Nyamdu Dihene, Consulia, and the Jigger Deva Dubi Tap, and the Caso Yamlin Jagger, Lamdun Chui Sungores, Lamdun Jigores, or that Lamdun Jage, Consulia Bene, that slow chedia, and jam nijo combiag in the Gombo Lamdenjea, and the Kowalang Emi, some that Tarba Toyag Lamdenjea, and the Kiwachima Hada Mugo Toya Lamdeja, Beneda Taring Bush Devenida, Lamdeja Tuyamar, the Kanjili, Semjili, Pemba Kawatuna Kamna, Melba Kazi, Ganichilia, Pemba Drup to the Yosadelia, Pakiwale, Delman, yes, in Yawan, Consul Semjan, Yamdu Duchin, Consul Yan, Gasore. Digi to be a tablam dingene, and Dushine, Dingore, Dini, Dewa Choto, nearly desadi. Janju Sembas, Janju Semba Gansadi, Janju Semba Digi, Tadondala, Janju Semba Digi, Kawaki Walingos, nearly said, Semjan Yus Pakiwa Linche, and the Koron Gulacha Janju Sem Yoba that. Kikiwalen but the Janju Semi only Kiwalingorua, Shanla Pendi to Yagi, Chetan Shanla Pendi to Yagandala, then Che Lamdinji or this order. Chita Janju Semicula, Janju Semiorua, they were cho to give a Janju Shandala, they were to be a tablam Yaksho, Janju Semis, Sugula, Janju Semicula, Chetan Janju Semba Digi, Shan Kiwalenje, Shande Pay to the Janju Semi Wangit, Kiwalingorua. Janju Semioba, the Shanla Pandu to Gonza, Kiwale, Delia Shanla treating Gora. Did they say? Devi Chocolana, Janju Sem Coronche, they were to be a tablam cho to give at Janju Sembles. Disuloras and the Janju Sembicula Yorova. On dinner, Janju on D. Wang Janju Semba Digi, and Semgelia, USA Natalia, Kiwalen, and the Coronza. Gang Kiwalen be near the Kiwalen, near Kiwalen, Yamdo Semjalia, and the Pendi to Yag, Tablam, Lam, Yamne, Jimbati party, and Digi to Yag, Tablam Danger, and the Consuculina, and Dushin and Yamlenche, Digi to go, Regere, Session Shandela Shanlea, Pendi to go, Resat Sungorada. Dini said the Janju Semba Ganzalche.
So I just change the translation of the third line, and then together we'll correct what was said in the previous segment, together with what Geshe said now. So a better translation then of the third line would be, so instead of bodhicitta, it would be bodhisattva. So the supreme happiness of a bodhisattva keeps them close. So I'll say it again, the supreme happiness of a bodhisattva keeps them close. So the meaning then is that a bodhisattva who possesses the mind of bodhicitta and thereby is experiencing, whilst their happiness now is not the supreme happiness of Buddhahood, this is what will be achieved because they have generated bodhicitta. So therefore, it can be likened to supreme happiness in that it will become the supreme happiness of Buddhahood. And due to the power of the mind of bodhicitta, the prayers of the bodhisattva have incredible power, and thereby and through those prayers, the bodhisattva remains ever close to wandering guests. In other words, through the power of the bodhicitta on the continuum of the bodhisattva continues to take rebirth amongst suffering beings, amongst beings who are wandering without any freedom in the suffering realms of samsara. And the bodhisattva does so in order to help them to illuminate, in particular, to illuminate the Dharma, illuminate the path for sentient beings to cultivate within themselves. So for this reason, bodhisattvas stay ever close to sentient beings in order to be able to benefit them.
And
then lastly, the bodhisattva does not, similar to wandering guests, a bodhisattva too does not abide long in any one place, because the bodhisattva will appear wherever they can be of great benefit. If they cannot be of much benefit in one place, they too will travel on to be of benefit to beings elsewhere. That's all.
지나다 셴래 팬디르비게 탑초도 교바데 전주sem바 대화 셴기 셴래 팬디르비게 탑초도 교바데 전주sem레스 지나 전주셈 귤레 뎀 데리게 전주sem바 디니 아니 코왈리아 지 개왈렌제 안 셴리아 안 디기르비게 탑람 덴제 셴리아 안 디기르고레스 탑람 덴제 셴기 조여 된지고레스 다도 셴레도하다.
In brief, bodhicitta is the most skillful of means to help beings, and thereby bodhisattvas intentionally take rebirth amongst ordinary samsaric beings in order to help them. They take rebirth amongst their objects of compassion in order to help them.
나는 데니 시즌아리도 앞에는 디니에서 장주셈 디니 아니 셴니게 셴기 디기투비에 탑론 초도 규바레스 디니에서 장주셈 코라라 샤웨네 도시나 저와 겹치고래 근데 장주셈 디니 아니 노와셈젠 탐제 디기투비에 탑 초도 규바레스 지산 데니게 귤레 데니가 장주셈 바데기 장주셈 귤레 데니 장주셈 바데기 아니 코와라 겨왈렌제 녀월네서 코와라 겨왈렌제 장주 셴리아 안 Which
is in brief, what's being expressed is that bodhicitta is the supreme method, the supreme skillful means by which beings can be benefited. So when bodhicitta is dominant or present within the mind of the bodhisattva, it's through that skillful means that they ensure they take rebirth amongst suffering beings and help them, guide them in accordance with their own dispositions.
심다디네 타마디 심진 드니르 심진 드힌 심버르 제바인 심진 드힌 아니 심버르 제바인 심버르 제바 시디다 베네 먼저 그 지게 로도 어디게 지네 칼라제도 콜론 칼라스 나트 직직송 산비게다 되바 침비아 지어로바 어디 심버르 제바 시디 다 심진 드힌 시디 다 데니기 대시 코발라 캠리게 심진 좀볼라로와 좀보세데 강리아 셰로와 지산 전체 라네 심정 코바디기 시구로와 지산 전주sem바 디기 가제 벤 전주sem디 심전레 판디드비 탑초도 규바레 데 귤레딘베 전주sem디 전주sem바 디기 너 코발리아 깨왈렌제 녀월네 전주sem전 탐제 냠데 되지 코라솔이야 아니 가르치 월세네 전진 쳔버체 시디 디니게 심전디게리아 니지게 상기요 고방 토브치데 람 냠리 림바 덴제 and the Yamsu Lenjuje, a ya, and Sanjo Comalia, Gugores, go on to that. Numo Pasha, the Java Pampa, the Simper Java, Chicagua, Simper Chicores, Simper Java said. The name of the Simper Javas in Digilu Kuja, Koran Deva de Yonge, Koran Jevul Maso, Miniatis or Mingores. And they are the Nigis and Negap in the Sanjo Coba, Tomato Bene, and Tarbi Lam doing the Tarbi Coba to be a top. 냠링이 림바티에 된 야네 냠수 렌주지야 탈비고 발로 꾸에제 아니 땡게 대와 톱제 아니 쳔발지고를 시르다 인디기 냠수 용고레스 용화지고레스 데네 데니기 내가 데니게 도마도벨이 아니 지게 가소레 원디오 고발로 꾸에제 하다며 원디오 고발로 꾸에제 원송을 동가를 저시 원디오 고발로 꾸에 데네 함미기 하다미 디기기 용어지 코너들 대용용 쳔바지고래 해서 지사다 심전 드윈신 쳔바지에서도 쳔바지에다 쳔자데 다 간젤레 상기고 고발로 꾸에 되네 띵이 대와 토야다 다르고 고발로 꾸에 띵이 고모 토야 되네 내가 제한이 나송의 동안을 줘야지 하다미 고발로 꾸에지네 내 하다미 대와 용어지 이제 대회 쳔바지 봐서 내 대기 용 주고래 해서 지사 되네게 장주sem바 장주sem디 탑람 초도 교바 장주sem이 군에 안제 되네게 장주sem바디기 안 코와라 네 강도 깨와래 안지할이야 최대 안되네게 감나 몇벌에 준비 최대인제 아니 상기에 살을 거 봐다 장주sem비기 파비 장주sem리야 람래 거 디기 용주야 안에 탈비 거 봐라 거지 안에 디기 용야 디기 주비야 안에 원도 거 봐라 거지네 안에 그 사람이 하다 미 디기 주비야 줍진 용주야제 도스는 쳔바지고래 해서 쳔바지에서 되다 니기 용와제가 혼자 용주고래 해서 구고를 받아.
Final line. Satisfying sentient beings, its great guests. Here then, normally when we want to satisfy our guests, we would serve them delicious warm food. But how the Bodhisattva primarily strives to benefit beings is firstly to be born where there is need and where they have capacity to be of benefit. So those two dependencies are required, where there are beings in need and the Bodhisattva can be of benefit to them. And the ways the Bodhisattva will primarily strive to benefit others would be either to guide them, to cultivate the parts of the Bodhisattva within them. In other words, the Bodhisattva herself would guide other beings to cultivate bodhicitta within. And moreover, having cultivated bodhicitta, guide them to cultivate the paths ever further, progressing towards the attainment of enlightenment. And where beings, due to their own unique karmic backgrounds, are not suited to enter into the paths of the Mahayana at that moment, the Bodhisattva will guide them rather to cultivate the paths that lead to individual liberation, the abandonment of the afflictions together with their seeds, but not yet the stains. So the Bodhisattva will do that, wanting to help beings eradicate suffering and gain liberation. And for beings who aren't yet suited to enter into the paths of either the Mahayana or the Theravada, the Bodhisattva will guide them to ensure they achieve an excellent rebirth, a rebirth as a human or God. So therefore, the primary, but not sole, the primary way the Bodhisattva will strive to benefit beings or to satisfy the needs of sentient beings, satisfy the yearning for happiness of sentient beings, is ideally to guide them into the paths of the Mahayana through the cultivation of bodhicitta, and then to abandon, through the wisdom realizing emptiness, the afflictions together, the seeds and stains, and attain enlightenment. Or, if the individual suffering being is not suited yet to that path, guide them to enter the path of the Theravada and abandon the afflictions together with their seeds and attain individual liberation, the lasting bliss of being an arhat. Or, if a being is not yet suited to be guided to cultivate a path within, the Bodhisattva will strive to ensure that they, at the very least, attain a further good rebirth, a rebirth as a human or God. So this is how the primary way Bodhisattvas will strive to satisfy the needs of happiness that beings have. And to do so, the Bodhisattva, powered by the bodhicitta, will take rebirth amongst suffering migrators.
Da dona nyingbo de la bina zhuo semjian tamji ane ji kowa lo du jian chamji kowa le ne de semjian de ge de du xin an dewa du go res ji ge dewi la da mi dewi de le ya longju de ba dewa du go dunga dewa du go res dewa de ba za jianju semba de ge jianju sem de gu le ge ba za jianju sem de ge da xian li ya pan de du ye ge 탑초도 교바 전주심 규례 여바이나 다 뒤단 남바군도 디 전주심 규례 예팅에 가사디기다 다 뒤단 남바군도 기딘의 현리에 판대 주야마도 지금 판대 마주가 되고 말와 제가 판대 주고 저 초도 교바 지난 뒤에 이제 전주심 규례 기대 예배 전주심 바디 얘기 근데 코베기 내려야 개발해 안 개발해 전에 안 될야 안 됐을야 안 람년제 탈비가서 람년 냠는게 동화 세야 된 디기를 대변에 내갑기 동화 세야 내갑기 디기녀야 안 탈도 탈바다 탐지기로 고바토에게 탑란 된제 디기 주야 온도신 람년제제 거기 디베 심벌제를 해서 코로나솔이야 대화 뇽주고래서 대화디 두신 코로나 대화 두고래서 이제 너네 뭐 제사 디네 인자다 너네 요 더도 쉬바네 데니세도
In summary, with the 33rd verse, the Bodhisattva, having as their object of compassion, in other words, those that they are concerned about, are migrators circling in the suffering realms of cyclic existence. The Bodhisattva knows clearly that each of these suffering beings is yearning for happiness, desperate to be freed of suffering, but they keep pursuing temporary pleasures or sensual enjoyments that cannot give them the happiness they desire. And there are others who are suffering so intensely, they cannot even hope to experience any sensual enjoyments. But the Bodhisattva, driven by their great compassion, will take rebirth wherever they can be of benefit, wherever they can help satisfy the needs of beings. And the Bodhisattva will stay amongst ordinary samsaric beings, ordinary migrators, for as long as there is benefit. When the benefit is no longer so great, the Bodhisattva will move on, will travel elsewhere, guided by their bodhicitta, with the determination of the Bodhisattva to be wherever there is benefit. And when amongst suffering beings, the Bodhisattva will help them in any and every way possible. The Bodhisattva will help beings cultivate the causes that will lead to temporary happiness, and the causes and eradicate the causes or avoid the causes that will otherwise lead to suffering. And where the being has the imprints, the Bodhisattva will guide them how to cultivate the causes that will lead to lasting happiness, the actual happiness that beings desire. And where the practitioner or the migrator has the causes, the Bodhisattva will guide them to cultivate an actual path within, a path leading either to liberation or perhaps even a path towards Buddhahood. So in brief, wherever the Bodhisattva can be of benefit because of the determination of the mind of bodhicitta, the Bodhisattva will take rebirth and help in every way they can for as long as they can meet the needs of beings.
dāndā nīngbō lā dā gārā sōngbō dā sēnē dā ngā zhō chē tam sāngjī kio sōngbō chē kī nīngbō dī dā yā thār tū nā sēmjēn tam chē sāngjī kō bāng tōyā chē sōngbō rēs chē sā dā sēmjēn tam chē sāngjī kō bāng tōyā lī yā lām nyam lī rīmbā chā sā dī dōr dā nīngbō dī jāngshū sēm dī rēs chē chū jāngshū sēm dī kī lō yō bā yā dī kī kūnyā lāng chē janju simbi simbi tohne da jimba da tsudino soba tsudino samde nyamna kare chewe na sanjo kopon tobi gyucha gore chesa janju simdi da takwa chenbi sanjo kopon tobi chura lamdi nyingpo di da janju simri janju simdo kumu gore chesa da janju simba se di yigi janju simdi da shen ya penyo dhubi tab chodo gyuba yinza ane janju simba di gyule dinga janju simba di yigi kowal pa ane simje yose nele yewa len simje dine disol ya ane chige lamduyenje tablam denje tarduk tarbada tamji kempe kobano goye di yunyoya dingi dewa dhubya ane negab ane chige lada mi kobang ya goye je ane lada lamin digi dhubya ane yang chige negab chige dine gabriel ya sosun chige 네 가가라 되베나 체텔 다가라리아 내가 녀모베 시와제다 네 삼바상보 검주제 체텔레 되기 가서 동아 세시 되기 주비하게 되네게 되기 롱줘야리아 도시네 아니 탑람제시 탑시 된지 되기 주고래 세지 진짜 되네 자다 에 전주 셈바티고 도스는 거래 진짜 되네 자다 람니니 뭐 셴델레 팬데 바시 주비하게 유디 janju semre sanjiyo gobang toye tablam nilamji nyingbo diya janju semre chazada janju semdi nga zuki gomche nyamlan cheba ina sanjiyo chuyi nyingbo zoodi nga zuki nyamlan chigore chazada diyali ya bezo cheche nyamlan chigore sachi nusin sungore wada danda nyingbo diya nga zule.
What we've looked at thus far then is that the very purpose of the Buddha Dharma, the very purpose behind which the Buddha gave his teachings, turned the wheel of Dharma 3 times, was to provide both the information but also the guidance by which sentient beings can attain Buddhahood themselves. This was the very purpose of the Dharma being presented. If that's the purpose of the teachings of the Buddha, the very heart, the very essence or the very heart of the Buddha Dharma is bodhicitta. because it is bodhicitta that causes beings to help each other attain the enlightened state of Buddhahood. Bodhisattvas are driven by this most skillful of means, the mind of bodhicitta, to benefit others, and thereby take rebirth amongst suffering beings, because these are the beings that are in a desperate need of help. And the bodhisattva will express the skillful means of bodhicitta in an unimaginable number of ways in order to help beings gain even temporary relief from suffering, or gain some temporary pleasures. But in particular, the bodhisattva will look to help beings, firstly, ensure that good rebirths are attained, excellent rebirths as a human or God. But moreover, the bodhisattva will strive to help beings cultivate paths within, either the paths of individual liberation or the paths of a fellow bodhisattva. And the bodhisattva will do so because the very heart of the teachings of the Buddha has been born within her own mind. And driven by bodhicitta, the bodhisattva will strive to help beings in every way possible. So recognizing the magnificence of bodhicitta, we should take inspiration and join that inspiration with a determination that we too generate bodhicitta.
다기 디링 교바 탐지기 쟁어를 줘와 대시 니다니 바도 데라 전도 베신기 하다 하밀라서 가버기스.
And then the 34th and final verse in this chapter. Today, in the presence of all protectors, I have called upon migrators to be guests in happiness until Buddhahood itself is attained. May gods, demigods, and all be joyous.
다기 디링 교바 탐지기 쟁어를 줘와 대시 니다니 세다 다기 세디 다 전주샘 내린 먼저 그심 가래 시연도 다 전주샘 초기 권에 전주샘 규례 기행디스고 땅에 전주샘 개바 다기스 디링 교바 탐지기 세다 미 디링 교바 아니 고유 동화 타달에 지금 교바 제비게 뜸바 상계다 전시선바 지게 되게 바 뻥벌 샤제 교바 탐지기 쟁아르스 디dun리아 아니 뻥벌 샤제 저와 샘제 탐지기 된다 상요고바 투비 치르도 예 아니 지게 전시선 냠솔렘바 개발에 사치고래 디링 다기 디링 교바 탐지기 쟁아르스들 디링 소드 지사 디링 시드 다 장주심 기행디 시로 디링에 장주심 개와디 소르다 디링에 장주심 개와디 어느 교바 상계 어느 교바 교바 상계다 장주심 비기 듄리아 어느 지게 대화시비 듄리아 쟁어서 듄라 안델리아 듄리아 뻥보샤제 응에 셈자 탐지기도 상요고바 퇴배지도 장주심 개와 인시로다 개바.
The Tibetan English is very mixed. Only the fourth line of the Tibetan is the fourth line of the English. The first three lines of the Tibetan is mixed through the three lines of the English. So just bear with me as we go through it. It starts in the Tibetan starts with I or I have today. So this is referring to the new bodhisattva who has generated bodhicitta in their own continuum. So it's the line starts with I today or I have today, and then continues in the presence of all protectors. In other words, in the presence, well, the Tibetan is literally before the eyes of all the protectors. In other words, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
전주심 개발에서 가르치는 개발에서는 가르치는 개발에서는 조화 대시 니다니 바도 데라 람도 전도 베싱기 시도다 되네게 조화 셈자 탐제 코위 동아 타달에 줘야지야 아니 대시 세대 상여 거방 더비 칠도 아니 상여 상여 거봐 땅 서울 대시 니다니 되네 말도 아니 야 탈비 거방을 거봐다 타다 미유 거방이야 거비 말도 데라 준도 베싱이 데라야 거봐 제게 된다라 아니 전시심 개봐 인식으로다 지사 전시심 개봐대 가르치는 승이 심전 탐조 코의 동안을 줘야지야 대시 제가 상여 거방이야 거야다 아니 봐도 아니 되네기 내가 되네 상여 거봐도 메두바디게 아니 탈비 거방을 거봐다 아니 타다 미운도 거방을 거야게 된다라 이 도시의 전시심 공부 가서 개봐 인식으로다 바르도 세야지 바르도 바르도 세 상여 거방 마토ye di paradela ale barde dela drendu basing said drendu said.
Then Shantideva continues, presenting the very purpose why today, in the presence of all the protectors, he has generated bodhicitta. And that then comes with, so it will go to all migrators until Buddhahood itself is attained. So this is the purpose by which, for which he has generated bodhicitta, why he is now counted amongst bodhisattvas. And that is for the benefit of all migrators until their Buddhahood is attained. So it's not clear in my translation, but the third line refers to until migrators are no longer migrators but have attained their own Buddhahood. So this is the very purpose that Shantideva has become a bodhisattva. He wants to lead each and every mother being to the attainment of their own enlightenment, to arise as Buddhas themselves. So that then is the purpose by which he has generated bodhicitta in the presence of all the protectors.
That Drendu Basing is that Drendu Basing said Jidang Jike Jeshe and the Drendu Basade, Nalia Yoro Shores and the Paji Kalaketa of Chagro, Denike, Drendu Beba said, got Drendu Beba says zero. Jedada Janu Semper, Drendu Be said the Nagashu Dirin Dagi Joba Tamjiki, Jangaro Drowa, Deshe Nidane, Bardo, Della Drendu Basing City, Jezada, Garijin Gasa. Semjin Junshin and Kastagi. Isn't that me? Said the Drendu Burken, the Yetang and Suri the Jansabas, me. And the Suki Dangors and draw Semjin the Kitango, Drendu Buedi, Semjin, and the Garchi the Bugers and Garcheg don't the taking order. Tarbi Sanyo Gopandi at Tigins, and the Tarbi Gopan Tigins, Nene Chicasore, Ladam Yungu Gopan Tigins. That chicken that Danish don't that she didn't share in she that singing to your mother in a good order, she lord charge orders in a been the Giora, Simja Tamji Council, and you didn't show said. Then and you own a council, and the jig and yet you could see the jag sort of mass on the chicken said, trying to burn a jag Gorua and this Urua. Dine zada Drendu Burkendi, Janshisabadi Chikiche, Janshism Gulakiting in the chair, and the Bangbo Susana, that Sangeta, Janshisabadi, Bangboche, Bangboche, that the Odemate in the Bangboche and Kutema, said Yorua, Bangbo. Diro Chagoro Danza.
And then the final bit for us in English, to be guests in happiness. Usually when we invite guests to our home, it's because we want to have a happy experience or share a happy experience with them, such as offering a delicious meal. So whilst bodhisattvas may well do this, what Shantideva really is expressing, that he, before the witnesses of all the protectors, so the Buddhas and bodhisattvas, he is inviting the guests, namely all suffering beings, all non-Buddhas, to be his guests. In other words, come into my presence and I will guide you. I will guide you how to accumulate the causes that will lead to a further rebirth. Or if you've already accumulated excellent causes, I will guide you how to enter a path. And having entered a path, I will guide you how to attain liberation if you are inclined to the Theravada paths. And if you've attained the paths of the Mahayana, I'll guide you to become an Arya Bodhisattva. In fact, I will guide you and all other beings until your own Buddhahood is attained. So this is the invitation that Shantideva is making to each and every mother sentient being. And he's making this not just as an emotional expression that has arisen within him. He's making it as a promise before witnesses, the witnesses of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
Tisanda ngozoge dosine danda alba dine je danda dikar sumorasne jina janju semba dige diringi ane janju semba sangye da janju semba de bangdo shaji bangbo shi di dunli ya nge semjan tamje ane koyu dunga le dreje ya sangye sala ko ba da ane negap sangye sala ko ma tu negap ane koyu kasore sangye sala ko ba da tarbi ko pa le ko ya dine ane ngason le dreje negap la da mi ko pa 제네기 탈바당 탐지기 먹고 본 토역이 누구 매주긴 되지라 내가 응송을 주시 야 사담이 고판을 거기 디던다랑에 되네게 샘전에 판디 주기 선에 전주샘 개발해서 전주샘 개발이 와서 왔다 전도 베신스 되게 전도 베신스 콘솔리아다 파 콘솔 되기리아 샘전 탐지 되기리 거기 선에 디던다라야 전주샘 아니스 교바 상계다 전심표 등을이야 전심 개바 인스제자 디네자다 현대 바시 저 장된 강에 봐 현대 리디 나다 현대 바시 주기 인사지 요새네 전심 받기게 미 다다기 있으면 인세오다 전심 그런 게 전심 개다 땅이 현대 바시 주기 인사 장된 삼문도 자오기네 메스 제자다 현심전이야 야, 너지게 탈바다 탐지kimbe 람드 야 상기살이야 고인스 아니 내가 상기고마 토마도 내가 탈비 고발이야 탈비 람냠래 좀 받든지 탈비 고발을 거기 내가 내가 토마토게 내게 마토비 링델이야 아니 코르에 가송게 동알로 줘제 야 하다미 고발을 거지 하다미 디기 용어야 주야를 주긴세 되네 거기세네 엔데네게 네 상기게 나 뒤에야 남자 케일린제지 도시네 안닝에 자슈심 개발에 대장에 도시에 바시 두기 세지 숨거도 나님 보디다.
The meaning then of these three lines is that Shantideva is engaging with or talking directly to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And he's saying to them, today I, before you, in your very presence, have generated bodhicitta. And now, as a bodhisattva, I make this commitment. I make this commitment with you, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, as my witness. But this commitment I make is to each dear mother being. Come into my presence, and I'll guide you to happiness. Where I can guide you to attain temporary happiness, I will do so. In particular, the temporary happiness of further excellent rebirths. And where I can, I will guide you to develop the causes that will lead to you attaining the lasting happiness of liberation and enlightenment. This is the commitment I'm making to each of you, migrators who are circling in these suffering realms of samsara. I make the commitment to you to guide you to the attainment of temporary happiness, but in particular, lasting happiness of liberation and enlightenment. So this is the promise that Shantideva is making to, or in the presence of, all the protectors, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
두아 삼다요 등고 말와 지당가 전도베데 지선 전도베서 당에 판데 루긴세데 델야데 전도베센세데 직쇼선 계당바디 남윤제 전도베바스는 지당 파이게스는 쇼스는 계당바스 데니슈바드와 다데 데니슈바지 가차고 말에 돈다라 가르선 전도베바라도 샘젤레 판데 바시 주긴세 페바 바시 지긴세 샘젤레 뇌진 차와세 남야지기메스 비디나 심지를 폐배짱짱 루긴 세지 고고다 전도 배신 세야되게
So looking further, so it's a bit broken for us in the second line. Called upon to be guests. Those terms specifically, but we can say it with migrators. Called upon migrators to be guests. So generally, when we invite someone to be a guest, it is because we want there to be an exchange, an interaction of some benefit, of some happiness. So that is what one would expect. But depending on how well you know the person who's inviting you, one may have some concerns or some doubts. But Shantideva is saying, because he is inviting each and every single mother sentient being, and he's saying to them, have no doubts, have no concern. I'm inviting you into my presence. I'm inviting you to come under my guidance and care. And I promise you, my sole objective is to lead you to happy states, both temporary, but in particular, the lasting happiness of liberation and enlightenment.
지산데레 양은 저기 직디마 야케베네 데네 디레 다게 교바 탐제기 시리 베람도 가사 전도 베신세 다간제레 돈달라 디링이 상계 점된 데스 디신샤바 탐제기 듄리아 방보샤셰 심전 탐제레 판디 두기 세네 자유심께 바예 사지 담자기 사지 고도와 아니 판데 디니베데 판데 거를 두고래라네 심전 탐제 아니 야 디신샤바 상요고 관을 거야다 안 탈비고 관을 거야 아니 뭐 하다미 원료고 관을 거야래 디길이 거야리 사지 고도와
Shantideva then is making a promise, a commitment, and is making this commitment as a bodhisattva, so it is something that is well thought out, sincere, heartfelt. He's making this promise in the presence of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and his promise is to help each and every mother sentient being, and help them to achieve the various temporary happinesses, the pleasures that are, while still in samsara, help to ease the suffering that beings experience, but in particular, to guide them to cultivate the Dharma within, to cultivate mental paths leading to liberation and enlightenment. This is the promise Shantideva is making here.
지산디네 자다 심제 탐제레 판디 두기 판디 바시 두기 세지 송바자다 디슈르야 아니 저런저 나래야 가가이나다 나래야 마가진다데 수수이나 징이 차사 판디 두기마다 예른가하메스 지구로다 예른가하메스 지산 판디 바시 두에인스 지산디네 자네 알이야 아니 지게 지 수이나 차상은 예른가하메 바 차상 두기인스 데네 인자당에 현진 바시 두비에게 케일린 남자 상계 대신샤바 전신세바 방보샤셰 케일린 남자 줍제 현재 판디 두시 두에인 데네 인자당 하다 하면라서 가버기 세들 하다 하면라서 바다 데네기 언제게 라소바 세들 하제 라마인벨 하면세데 네 라마인다 네 중보라서 바다 미리라서 바 수인에 한 정어들야 제수이라제 데네 배데딩알 네디 제바들레 제수이라제나 가호금쇼 어서거다
And by inviting all migrators, Shantideva is also stating that no matter what our current relationship is, no matter what you think of me, whether you like me, whether you despise me, from my perspective, makes no difference. Whatever our current relationship is unimportant. From my perspective, you matter to me. Your happiness, your welfare matters to me. Free of bias, free of partiality, You can trust me. You can come under my care and guidance, confident that I'll help you in every way I can. Then in conclusion, Shantideva says, may gods, demigods, and all be joyous. So all beings who are aware of this momentous occasion and this commitment that has been made, whether gods, demigods, humans, rejoice. Rejoice and be joyous.
Daddy Bardo, Ambane, Dine Zada Janjisime Jobala, Jubale, and the Janju Simgi, Janjuge Simeon Sunwigi, Shea Ludi Liu Sumba was that Janju Simson Ludi, Bang and Tawari that Liu Sumbadi.
Then the Tibetan concludes with something along the lines, it's not ever translated, something along the lines of, from the Bodhisattva's way of life, or engaging in the Bodhisattva's way of life. This is the third chapter called, what did we call it? Maybe taking hold of bodhicitta. Yeah, taking hold of bodhicitta. So from engaging in the Bodhisattva's way of life, this is the third chapter, taking hold of bodhicitta.
That delay, Liu delay, Janju Sem Yosu, Liu said, Liu Digo, Janju Sem Choyong on the energy, and Janju Sem Mosim Geada, Jubasim Ge, Dombosoyada, Jubasim Gedi, Martin Liu Dina Somba, Zada, Janju Sem Yosu, Liu. Cizan Dinelia, Dang, Janju Sem di, that you get Gula Gevala, the Sunam bottom of Sahu by Inza, that you Sunam Gachim Sahu is. Cizan Ding 지난 전주가 liu 당보디 전주신게 판연제 판연신의 전주심 냠수 연구소의 동력이 듬버게 된다라 전주신게 판연의 마송 다 liu니바 델이야 아니 전주심 다 용소 냠는 제발라 양라든 유근의 소사고바 인자 아니 지게 저거포와다 차사와다 디바 가서 님보도 쉬고네 디바 샤바디 다 liu니비 가서 마송 Dene Liu Sumbe Diga so that and Gawala Chisu Ira Chaba, Chugu Holokoa, Yangal Medeva Soateba, Gawangoa, Gawangoa, Moa Jedipa, Gawangoa, Yala Dumbatsa, Dene and that Chogo, Janshusem, Janshusem, Yen, Jusem, and Geshe Thubten and Judus Nyamneche, the Sungorwa, Dene Sunsana Denma, that the Janshusem game, that the Penny that Cheshima. Duchin Songje that Dinigi that did it the Dang Dom Di Gang Shake, Don Ningbo that Jinju Domros Mason, Dordurus, that Chisa Sanji Sonye Che Tam Jozo, Semjan Tanjo Korea Dungal, Sanji Kopan to which Sonya Sumbari, Di Tobege Tablam Zodi, that Janju Semre, Chisa Damjo Masuba said, Damju Janju Semba, did it, Chisada, Janju Semdi, Dangan to Sanji Koban to be Lamgi Nane, Lam Chodo Yuba, Margi Nihunashitire, says Song. Chisanda Janjusim Gula Ki to Hengasa Digi, that Janjusemba Digi, and the Semjan Tam Janjusem did that, Semjan Tamjiki Digi to be a Tap Choto Cubare, Dinyam Soling at Janjusemba Digi, and the Janjusem Semja Kovala Kiawa, Jeshe, and Semjelia, Lamdun Jeje. Tarbaya Govada, Tarbada, Tamji Kimbo Govada, Wendo Govala, Google Guji, Pendy Jugores, Pendy Bashi Jugores. Jizandini, the Janjusemba Digi, Sanji Dunli, Dijin Shabada, Janjusembe Dunlia, and the day me Semja Tam, Jokuru Dungal Jersey, Sangi Sala Gugi, Dins and Semja Tam, Sanjo Govan Toba Chigi Sibeda, Janjusem Geada, Najanjusembe Java, Lavaji Parochimodula, Labgin, Sede. Domba Song Dus, Killing Jeje, and Jella Penny Jubiage, that Semja Tamje, and Drendu Persim Paris, Jizandineza, Tata Laminas of Chazan Kawai, Gawa Gomne, Jesu Irana, Gawa Gumyo, Gomne were arrested on Dushin that Nimbo Dinish Duvarits, to somebody.
So this chapter called Taking Hold of Bodhicitta is a chapter wherein one generates bodhicitta, both aspiring bodhicitta and thereafter by taking the vows of the bodhisattva generates engaging bodhicitta. And from this process, so much merit is accumulated. So what we've looked at thus far, because these first 3 chapters bring about the generation of bodhicitta. So now we've come to the culmination of the first major part of the text, which comprises the first 3 chapters. The first chapter presented the many benefits of bodhicitta, and the purpose of starting the text with that was to give rise to a yearning to become a bodhisattva ourselves. Having given rise to such yearning, Shantideva led us to the second chapter, wherein we prepare our mind so that it becomes a mind that is suitable for within which bodhicitta can arise. And to make the mind suitable, making the mind suitable is a process of accumulating extensive virtue, in other words, deepening our habituation to wholesome ways of thinking, and purifying unwholesome ways of thinking, breaking our habituation to unwholesome ways of thinking. And this, in the second chapter, was presented through engaging in the 7 limb prayer, with the second chapter being primarily that of accumulation, and accumulation through prostrations and offerings, as well as through confession. So this was the second chapter. The third chapter started with the conclusion of the 7 limb prayer, with the limbs of rejoicing and requesting for the Dharma to be taught, for the teachers to remain amongst us, and then there was a number of verses of dedication. Thereafter, the 23rd and 24th verse came the actual generation of bodhicitta, and thereby, having generated bodhicitta in those two verses, there were several verses then rejoicing in what had been achieved, and that was then followed by a brief recollection of the benefits of this bodhicitta that has just been generated, and that was done through a number of analogies. And now we've come to the conclusion of this chapter, and it's concluded with Shantideva making a promise to each and every mother sentient being. And this promise, he's making it before the witnesses of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So therefore, one can have confidence that as a new Bodhisattva, not only is he driven by bodhicitta, but he's making this promise before the omniscient Buddhas and all his fellow great Bodhisattvas. And he's making the promise to every mother migrator, no matter what our relationship is, no matter what our relationship from your side is, from my side, you matter. I care for your welfare. You can rely on me, and I will only benefit you. From this moment forth, until you attain your enlightenment, I will only benefit you. And where I can help you gain temporary happiness and overcome temporary problems, I will do so. Wherever I can, help you, guide you, so that you cultivate within you the paths to lasting happiness, that I will do. Help guide you to attain liberation from suffering, to attain enlightenment itself. And I make this promise to each and every of my mothers. And I make this in the presence of witnesses, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And from this moment forth, until I empty samsara, I guide each being to the attainment of their enlightenment, I will strive to only be of benefit.
Alright, I didn't get Janjusim Gay, that Janjusim Gay, Jubik, Domba, Jusim Gay, and the Janjusangi, Simjan, Sanjoko, to which Janjusim Java, Parodishima, Lavgin, Seji, Damja, Kilin Java, Inza, Denma, Liu Shiban Mang, Zugi, Passion to be Yamlen Labial Bad, or this mat to get Yamsulena, she had it, the Chesada, Janjusim, Juba, Juxum. Jubi Domba Lembe, Juba Yamle, Labja, Labia de Juba Yamlen, Parodishima, Janjusim Juba, Lavgin Lava, Janjusim Juba de Passion to Yamle, Della Lavgin Serva, Chesna Zada, and you get Liu, Shivan Mada, Jimbata, Tsujim Laptan Ma, Dushin Ma, Dinma that Janjusim Juba Laptan Ma, Shu or what that.
Having generated aspiring bodhicitta, the bodhisattva then makes a vow, and the vow is to work for the welfare of others. That is the vow of the bodhisattva, and then the bodhicitta becomes suitable to be called engaging bodhicitta, because now the bodhisattva is engaging in the various activities that will bring about the welfare of others. And so these various activities can be expressed in many ways, the most common of which is the 6 perfections. And that, the presentation of the bodhisattva's activities, what the bodhisattva engages in, is where we start with the next chapter.
다 전주 심계 처리 제려야 주름 게나 전주 심이 줘봐 랍긴지 힐링 반잔다 다 되는 마음 리우시도 시번 마다 전주 심이 줘봐 랍야기 리우마 라야 고수다 라야디마 진바 추춤 쇠바 전주 삼대 셰랍 다 리우 베셰 루 차르고도와 다 리우 숨서 리우 고주와사르와 리우 부셔 다 리우 주바 타마델야 몰람 자야돼 자고래 전시선비기 몰람 다들 전주인 디마들 요마 다같이 먼저 전주인 냠내자다 람림 냠내자 지바로 왔다 람림 냠내자다 소사집자다 마제네 전주에 주로되네 기호섬 밀람이 바셔다 돈다 지부지냐다 송다 됐습니다 마도 진바 추좀 쇠바 루아데 파지르 진바 추준 쇠바 준데 삼대 셰르브와 리우 디바도 셰레 디발리로와 리우 타마데데 몰람디 리우 샤교레.
This remarkable text by Shantideva engaging the Bodhisattva's way of life. As mentioned, it starts with preparing preparing one to actually become a bodhisattva. First, in the first chapter, guiding one to give rise to a deep yearning, to transform one's life, to transform one's very mind. And to do so then, the second and third chapters presents the 7 limb prayer, to cultivate excellent qualities and weaken our non-virtue. And then in the third chapter, we also come to the generation of bodhicitta. Now, being a bodhisattva, and having made the vow of the bodhisattva to engage in activities to bring about the welfare of others, from the 4th chapter, start the trainings of the bodhisattva, those of generosity, ethics, patience, joyous perseverance, concentration, and wisdom. So that takes us from the 4th up to and including the 9th chapter. And that is then followed by a 10th chapter, which is that of dedication. So this process, this presentation of that is found in Shantideva's text is no different from what one finds in the Lamrim. The Lamrim presents a particular sequence by which one comes to the point of generating bodhicitta and then engaging in the various practices of the bodhisattva, the activities of the bodhisattva leading to the attainment of enlightenment. So the presentations differ slightly, but in terms of the sequence, but it comes down to exactly the same thing, which means the teachings of the Lamrim and the teachings presented in Shantideva's engaging in the Bodhisattva's way of life are complementary, one aiding the other.
Lamrim chimandana jivuchunwe lamyiribada dingi lamyiribada kaso tumo lamyirib shegoro sungorwa 다지 준준나네 타고 침발 lamyirib 장장심마도 dingi sungoro mare.
So the Lamrim Chemo, the great Lamrim, thus explicitly refers to trainings that are shared with practitioners of initial capacity, followed by trainings shared with the practitioner of intermediate capacity. So that way of dividing isn't done in the Bodhisattva's way of life. Rather, it is all presented solely through the context. So those same practices are presented solely through the context of the aspirant Mahayanist or the Bodhisattva themselves.
Oh, yeah,
okay, then thank you very much. Thank you very much.